Hello Bootcon, and welcome. My name is Daniel Kriegermeyer, and today I would like to talk to you about regular expressions, or regex, in Splunk. A quick note before we get started: due to time constraints, I'm going to have to keep this presentation at an introductory level. I've included a Google Doc, linked in our chat, which contains various resources and cheat sheets for anyone that wants to follow along or pursue additional information about this powerful tool. There certainly is a wealth of information out there waiting to be discovered. Alright, so what are regular expressions? Well, regex is simply a sequence of characters that seek to find patterns when searching through text. Many modern-day programming languages like Python, Java, C++, to name a few, all support regex. The regex version in Splunk utilizes the Perl programming language. However, it doesn't stop there. Many operating systems, database systems, and text editors support versions of regex. For today, I would like you to remember that there are a multitude of ways to write a regular expression. From overly simplistic to hyper-complex, the important thing to remember is, if your syntax is correct, there really isn't a wrong way of doing it. What's important is that you know your data, because if it works with your data, then it's probably correct. Alright, so let's take a look at some of the basic regex tokens we'll be exploring today. As you can see, many of these tokens are self-explanatory, and we'll discuss them in greater detail as we work through it. Alright, so let's take a closer look at this in action. We're going to start here in regex101.com, which is a great website to help you explore and troubleshoot your regular expressions. I've gone ahead and loaded some hypothetical data for the sole purpose of demonstration. Alright, so let's jump in here and start playing with it, right? So if we enter in some literals, 2023, it's going to return all the 2023s. Alright, let's say 311 returns all the 311s. That's great, but we don't want to have to type in every single thing we're looking for, right? So let's say we're looking for this date, and what we want to do is figure out the pattern. And we know the pattern because we know our data, year, month, day, right? 4 digits dash 2 digits dash 2 digits, right? A little tongue twister there. So how can we represent that in our expression? Well, we can use the \d. And what's great about this site is if you just hover over your expression, it'll give you an explanation. Matches a digit equivalent to 0 through 9. And we can see that in our data, right? All the digits being returned. Great. Well, we need the date. So how do we continue the pattern? Well, I know. I can use this quantifier of +, and that's going to say matches the previous token between 1 and unlimited times, as many times as possible, giving back as needed. It's greedy. Okay, great. What in the world does that mean, right? Okay, so what it's saying is it's going to match this token, or match that 0 through 9, right? It's going to match the digit, return it. It's going to continue doing so, grabbing digits and returning them until it hits a character that isn't \d, or isn't a digit. And we can see that in our data. 2023s broken with a dash, a space, colon, bracket, etc., right? Fantastic. Well, maybe we can clean this up a little bit. And by clean it up, I mean have less returns in our data. So if I come up here, I know my data, and my year is always 4 digits, right? So I could just say digit, 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 digit. And now we're capturing 4 characters, 0 through 9, and that's represented in our data, right? All the digits and 4s being captured. Oh, that's great, but maybe there's a cleaner way. Brackets will do the same thing. So we put our number in between the brackets, squiggly brackets, and you can see that in our data. All the digits and 4s, right? Fantastic. Oh, and you hover over it, matches the previous token exactly 4 times, right? Great. Well, let's continue that pattern. We know there's a literal dash, so we just type that in if our fingers work. And we know our date, our month is a digit, and it's 2 characters long, followed by a literal dash, and our day, which is a digit, and it's 2 characters long. And great, now we're capturing that pattern exactly like we wanted it. Problem is, we have a date at the beginning of the event and at the end of the event. Let's say we wanted the date at the end of the event. How do we do that? Well, we come to our expression, the end of it, enter in a $, and hover over that. It says, asserts the position at the end of the line. Great. Well, that $'s an anchor, and what it's doing is, as it says, it's anchoring it at the end of the line, and we can see that in our data, right? Fantastic. Let's say we didn't want that date at the end. We wanted it at the beginning of our event, right? So we can use the caret, which again is an anchor, and it asserts the position at the start of the line. And we see that happening here. Fantastic. Well, how can we get this to translate in Splunk? Well, we'll need to capture it. So we'll throw it in a capture group. And the capture group is saying, this is exactly what I want to capture, right? And we do that with parentheses. Parentheses at the beginning and parentheses at the end of that which we want to capture, right? And so you can see that represented, highlighted in green here. So this is all the data we're going to capture. Well, if we name the capture group, when we take it over to Splunk, Splunk will then give it a unique field based off of our name. So how do we name it? Well, simple. Question mark, less than, greater than, put our cursor between those, and name it. We'll call this date, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll use that because I know that's a field Splunk's never going to return to us, right? So let's see how this plays out. Come over to Splunk, do a pipe, rex command, quotes, paste that, enter, unknown search. Oh, helps if you can type, Dan, rex. And come on down and we see interesting fields, date, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. I know the value. I know this is the date of every event in my hypothetical data. What's important is it's counting it 20 times here. I know there's 20 events in my hypothetical data. Fantastic. Extract the data, manipulate it, good to go, right? Let's take a look at another example. Let's say we see the alert, we see the SSHD, and we want to pull that out, right? We want to extract that. Well, the process. Well, we're going to speed it up a little bit. What we want to do is find the pattern, and the pattern's obvious, right? Alert, space, bracket. So how do we do that? Well, we can just type in the literal alert as it's shown. We need to capture that space, which is \s, and we need to grab that bracket. So we just throw in a bracket. Well, it's returned an error. No problem. It's not recognizing the bracket. We could put our cursor in front of the bracket and we'll escape it with a backslash. Now we see it's capturing the bracket, and that's represented here. Awesome. This too is an anchor, and what it's doing is anchoring our regular expression inside our data to that which we want to extract, right? Our process, anything between these brackets. Well, we got our anchor up to the bracket, so we can call this our capture group. Great. So we'll come up here and say capture group. And I know \w is going to return everything lowercase, capital, digits, and an underscore. Okay, fantastic. It's represented here one time. Well, this is 4 characters, so like our date, squiggly brackets, the 4 matches the previous token exactly 4 times. Fantastic. Grabbing all the SSHDs, right? Take that to Splunk, make a report, done. Well, not so fast. What if this isn't SSHD, it's just HD? Or what if we're in the future and it's version 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Well, now we have a problem. We're missing some data, right? Okay, well, how can we fix that? Well, we're going to get rid of this 4 because it's not doing us a service, clearly. I know, if I use the greedy quantifier of +, it's going to return it's going to match the previous token between 1 and unlimited times, as many times as possible, giving back as needed, and it's greedy, right? And again, it's going to grab this token, return the token, continue doing so until it runs into a character that isn't this token. And we can see that represented in our data. All the lower cases, return, digits, return, hits the bracket and says, oh, that's not in this token, so we're going to stop. And it does that in all of our data. Great. So we can name this, we could copy this, take it over to Splunk, start extracting data, good to go. Now, I know there's at least one of you out there that's saying, wait a second, Dan, doesn't Splunk do all this for us? To which I must reply, yes and no. Splunk is a fantastic application. However, as with every application, it has its limitations. We also have to remember the data we explored in class was more or less curated for us, so in the real world, we may come across convoluted data that Splunk may have issues with. Let's see how that could play out. So if we pop over here into Splunk, and we have all of our hypothetical events here, right? And we say, okay, we want to do some data extraction. No problem. We're going to hop in here and click on Event Actions and Extract Fields. And that's going to take us into our field extractor. Regular expressions supported in Splunk. Fantastic. Some of you may have used this and didn't even know it. So we'll pop in, and then Splunk's saying, all right, tell me what you want, right? Tell me what you want out of this event. And what I want is this date and time, because I want the date and time and the username so I know when they're logging in, right? So we'll click this. We'll call it date underscore time, add extraction, check our work. And we see here in the raw data, everything's being captured. We have our field, everything looks good. 20 events captured, anything missing? Nope. Excellent. Everything looks great. So let's go and grab that user. And we know we force our users to use their email address. So we'll call this user, add extraction, come up here, trust Splunk, click next, 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 make our report, send it off to our boss. And uh-oh, got a small problem here. Got a big problem, right? We've made a big mistake. It's only capturing 4 events. Why isn't it capturing all this other data? I mean, these are clearly email addresses, right? All right, well, let's figure it out. No problem. Scroll up to the top, show regular expression. And what this is doing is it's showing us what Splunk presumes we're looking for based off of our inputs, normal@something.com, and the date, right? So we can hop over here to our friendly website, paste that in, and say, all right, what's happening here? Well, we see the date and time. Splunk is using these greedy quantifiers in the date and time, and that's fine. It's no right or wrong way. If it works, it works, and we know it works, so we're going to get rid of it. Our problem's the email addresses, right? So here's what Splunk returned to us. We have to ask, why did it return this to us? Well, we sent it normal@something.com, and it said, all right, you're looking for everything lowercase greedy till you hit an @sign, everything lowercase greedy till you hit a period, everything lowercase greedy. And so what this expression's doing is it's coming to your data and it's saying, look for the pattern, look for the pattern. Well, lowercase, @sign, lowercase, dot, lowercase, broken, pattern matched. Let's grab that. And then it keeps going. It hits Waka Waka. Well, Waka Waka has a capital and a digit, and that's not in our expression. So how can we fix this? Well, simply add capital A through Z and our digits, 0 through 9. And boom, Waka Waka is now captured. Okay, so we move on and say, why the turtles? Well, there's an underscore. Fish and chips has a period. All right, we just come up to our expression, and I'll move that out of the way for you, and add in the underscore and the period. Oh, great. Now we got why the turtles. Now we got fish and chips. Take this, copy it, take it over to Splunk, make our report, right? Well, not so fast. Again, it's super important to know your data. If you look at fish and chips, they're located in Great Britain. And we know Great Britain uses this .uk, just like Germany, Australia, Russia, right? We're all familiar with this. All right, well, let's fix this. Come up to our expression, enter in this period here, and there you go. .uk is now captured. All right. Well, we think this looks great. Some of you may notice this looks familiar, right? Maybe we can clean that up. So we know if we come here and just put \w, that's doing the exact same thing as this A to Z, digits, and underscore. So we just simply get rid of that, and now it's a little cleaner. All right, cool. Take this, copy it, bring it over to Splunk, and say, well, over here we can edit the regular expression on the right-hand side, and we will say, thank you, Splunk, appreciate your efforts, but we're going to overwrite this with what we think we need. Click on Preview, and there we go. It appears all the data is being captured, even the .uk's. Come up here, 20 events captured. We got our fields. Yep, everything looks fantastic. Do a little discount double check. Anything missing? Beautiful. No results found. So now we know all of our data is being captured. We can extract it and manipulate it as we see fit. So as you can see, with just a entry-level understanding of regular expressions, you can save yourself a lot of time, a lot of headaches, and in this case, mitigate the risk of erroneous field extractions. In closing, I would like to reiterate that we've just scratched the surface of what's possible with regular expressions. There is a lot of information out there regarding the subject, and I invite you all to pull back that curtain to discover how regular expressions can work for you in Splunk. Thank you all so much for your time. Again, my name is Daniel Kriegermeyer, and it's been my pleasure introducing you to this powerful tool. With that, I will open the floor for any questions you may have. Thank you all so much.